HMS Kipling was launched as an ordinary destroyer in January 1939, and named after the famous author Rudyard Kipling. She belonged to the K-class, a group of powerful destroyers built for speed, endurance, and heavy fighting. With her twin 4.7-inch gun turrets, torpedo tubes, and anti-aircraft batteries, she embodied the Royal Navy's philosophy of aggressive, fast-hitting escorts. But more than her weapons, it was the spirit of her crew that would make her name remembered. The war at sea was brutal, and Kipling quickly found herself in the thick of it. She was commissioned in December 1939, just as Britain stood alone against Nazi Germany. Soon after joining the home fleet, she was dispatched to the icy waters of the North Atlantic, patrolling against U-boats and providing escort to vital convoys. She proved her worth in speed and agility, earning her reputation as one of the fighting Ks. But the Mediterranean would become the stage where Kipling carved her legend. When Admiral Cunningham's Royal Navy fought desperately to hold the lifeline to Malta and Greece, Kipling was always near the front line. She ferried troops, bombarded enemy positions, and shielded carriers and battleships from both German and Italian threats. Her most dramatic moment came in May 1941, during the Battle of Crete. German forces had launched a daring airborne invasion, and the Royal Navy was locked in desperate fighting to cut off seaborne reinforcements. Alongside her sister ships, Kipling dashed into action. In these waters she faced not only relentless waves of German bombers, but also improvised flotillas of commandeered carracks and small craft crammed with invasion troops. The destroyers raked them with gunfire, sending many to the bottom before they could reach the island's shores. But the battle reached its most tragic and heroic point on the 23rd of May. That day, HMS Kelly, Lord Mountbatten's famous destroyer and a ship already known throughout Britain, was bombed and fatally damaged by German aircraft. As Kelly rolled over and sank, hundreds of men were thrown into the sea, many injured, all under constant air attack. It was here that Kipling proved her courage beyond question. With bombs falling around her and enemy aircraft over the waters, she steamed straight into the danger zone. Her sister's crew would not die, not while she still drew breath. When the desperate call rang out, HMS Kipling answered, hurling herself into the storm. Dodging near misses and shrapnel, Kipling's crew hauled men aboard as quickly as they could. In a feat of seamanship and sheer determination, she saved nearly 280 survivors from the water. This rescue was not just an act of duty, it was a defining moment. Kelly was already a household name in Britain, and the news of Kipling's heroism spread quickly. The fact that she risked destruction to save her comrades, at the very height of the German bombers' onslaught, marked her out as one of the bravest ships of the campaign. After this baptism of fire, HMS Kipling was thrust again and again into the unforgiving battles of the Mediterranean. The theater was a cauldron of relentless air attacks, fast-moving naval engagements, and the constant shadow of U-boats. In this harsh environment, destroyers like Kipling were not merely escorts. They were lifelines. But this was no victory parade. Crete ended in disaster for the Allies, with thousands of troops captured and the island lost. For Kipling, the battle left scars of exhaustion and damage, but also pride. She had shown what a destroyer could do: fight, rescue, and endure in the face of seemingly impossible odds. By late 1941, HMS Kipling was deep in the struggle for control of the Mediterranean. The Royal Navy was stretched thin, protecting Malta's convoys, intercepting Italian naval movements, and harassing Axis supply lines to North Africa. Kipling and her sisters often fought against overwhelming odds. In May 1941, she had already taken part in operations against Axis convoys supplying Rommel's Africa Corps. Her steady gunnery earned her credit for shooting down several aircraft. Later, during the Crete battles, she endured days of constant bombing, dodging dive bombers and fighters that prowled the skies. Her survival in those desperate days helped earn her the reputation of one of the lucky destroyers. By 1942, HMS Kipling was fully immersed in the struggle to keep Malta supplied, one of the most critical and dangerous assignments in the Mediterranean. The island's survival depended on daring destroyer escorts running the gauntlet of Axis aircraft, submarines, and surface raiders. Kipling participated in several high-risk convoy operations, escorting merchant ships through the narrow, heavily contested waters between Alexandria and Malta. On numerous occasions, she and her sisters engaged Italian cruisers and torpedo boats. Her crew, pushed to their limits, worked tirelessly at the guns, often without rest, firing at wave after wave of attacking aircraft. Despite her small size and the constant dangers she faced, Kipling embodied the Royal Navy spirit, fast, aggressive, and ready to face impossible odds for the greater mission. In May 1942, HMS Kipling faced her final, fateful mission. Assigned to escort a vital convoy to Malta, she sailed through the most dangerous waters in the Mediterranean. On the 11th of May, 1942, south of Crete, the convoy came under intense attack from German Ju-88 bombers. Kipling and her fellow escorts fought valiantly, maneuvering at high speed while delivering continuous anti-aircraft fire. Despite their efforts, multiple bombs struck the destroyer. Fires broke out, and flooding began to overwhelm her watertight compartments. The crew acted with skill and courage, fighting flames and manning their guns even as the ship was dying. But within minutes, it became clear she could not be saved. Kipling rolled over and sank into the Mediterranean, joining the long list of valiant Royal Navy destroyers lost in these relentless battles. Remarkably, the majority of her crew survived. Out of over 220 men on board, only 27 were lost, with survivors rescued by the accompanying destroyers HMS Jackal and HMS Jarvis. These men carried forward the memory of Kipling's courage, endurance, and skill under fire. Though her service lasted less than 3 years, HMS Kipling earned a place in naval history. From her daring operations in the Mediterranean, her critical role in Malta convoy escorts, to the heroic rescue of HMS Kelly's crew, she exemplified the speed, firepower, and unwavering spirit of the K-class destroyers. Her legacy lives on as a symbol of determination, bravery, and the unbreakable resolve of the Royal Navy during the darkest days of World War II. Though Crete was lost, Kipling's courage was not in vain. She saved hundreds from the sea, proving that even in defeat, there is greatness in sacrifice and honor in saving lives. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe. It's free and every click helps our channel keep going and helps us bring you more stories from history. We really appreciate your support, and we'll see you soon.